Hi guys, welcome back to Craigz, the YouTube channel that delves into the horrors of the world. If you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button right now for all future updates. Okay, so Halloween is only weeks away, and if you're like me, you love Halloween. It's going to be a different kind of Halloween this year due to the COVID-19 outbreak for a lot of us around the world, and clubs and parties may not be going ahead this year, but there is nothing stopping all of us from curling up onto the sofa and putting on a really good scary horror film this Halloween. A typical Halloween for me will usually be pumpkin carving, cookie making, and then it's time for some good old-fashioned horror films. So, in this video, I have put together a list of horror films that you can watch this Halloween, and there's a great mix from paranormal activity films to blood and guts. So let's get started with the top 10 horror movies to watch this Halloween. Starting this list off at number 10 is It. Now, this is probably one of the more recent films on this list, but it's definitely worth a watch, and it doesn't matter if you want to watch the original or the remake, they are both brilliantly scary in their own ways. It is based on the Stephen King novel, and it's about a crazy clown called Pennywise, who is coming after helpless and bullied children. Now, I think what makes this movie so good and scary is the fact that even though Pennywise is most of the time a creepy clown, he can actually appear as any one of your worst fears. So he can basically shapeshift into your worst fears. So if you're scared of spiders, then he could come at you as a massive spider. And that is why the movie is called It, because what is it? What makes this film scary for children particularly is the fact that Pennywise comes to eat and feed on children after he first torments them. It's a brilliant movie, and it's perfect for Halloween, and literally it doesn't matter if you want to watch the original or the remake. They're both brilliant, they're both scary, and you will enjoy either of them. Coming in at number 9, we have Hostel. Now, if you love your horror films to have blood and guts, then this movie is for you. The movie follows 3 friends travelling across Europe, and they bump into a guy while they're in Amsterdam who convinces them to go to this amazing hostel because they have the best looking girls. And when they do go and visit this hostel, they encounter their worst nightmares. Now, I remember when I first watched this film, I watched it with my mum because my mum always enjoyed horror movies, and in one of the scenes in this movie, my mum ended up heaving and nearly being sick. So I do like this movie, and the first time you watch it, it is very unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen or what's coming next. And it also makes you realise that this could happen to you while you are out travelling around Europe and you end up in a strange country. If you're after some blood and guts this Halloween, then Hostel is your film. Flying in at number 8, we have one of my favourite zombie films ever, 28 Days Later. Now, this might actually come across as quite a scary movie to watch at the moment due to the virus that we're all facing at the moment, but basically in this movie a mysterious virus is let loose after a group of animal activists break into a lab, and this lab, they're experimenting on monkeys and gorillas and chimpanzees, and these animal activists, they're planning on setting them free. However, they let them out of the cage and then the animals attack them, letting loose a deadly virus that spreads like the speed of light. Everyone starts turning into a deadly zombie, but these zombies, they are ferocious and they can run very fast. So 28 days later, then a guy called Jim, he wakes up in a hospital bed after being in a coma, but he is all alone. He walks around the streets of London and there isn't a person in sight, and there's clues all around him letting him know that something bad has happened to the world. It's a fantastic movie all about survival and with a lot of jumpy moments, and the music soundtrack throughout this movie is outstanding. It's an old favourite of mine, and if you're into your zombie films, then 28 Days Later is the one for you. Coming in at number 7, we have Jeepers Creepers, and this movie does actually live up to its name because the movie will give you the creeps. Released back in 2001, brother and sister Derry and Patricia, they're on their way home during the spring break, and Derry decides to take the scenic route home, and their journey turns into their worst nightmare. A huge monster truck tries to run them off the road, and when they finally manage to get this guy to leave them alone and drive past, a little bit later on they catch the driver dumping something down a pipe basement, which looks a little bit like a dead body. And when this guy has disappeared, Derry and his sister, they decide to go and see what this guy has dumped down the pipe. This movie is a classic, and it does have its fair share of gory moments. It's one of those films that makes you think, what would you do in that situation? It's not your typical serial killer monster horror movie, and I think this is why this movie stands out for me. When it first smashed onto our screens, it was fresh, it was new, and it wasn't a bloody remake. So if you haven't seen this one before, it's worth a watch. Trust me, you won't regret it. Okay, so coming in at number 6, we have Carrie. Now, this one I'm only going to be talking about the original because the remake wasn't so good. And the original is just a classic. So, Carrie White is just your average teenager living at home with her mother and going to school. However, Carrie's mum is a total religious nutjob who makes Carrie's life hell. And even then, going to school, Carrie doesn't even get a break there either because the girls are bullying her. There is one thing different about Carrie though, and she can move things with her mind. She seems to have this little bit of a special power that she doesn't know how to use until she gets mad. So later on in the movie, when Carrie goes to prom and wins the Prom King and Queen Award, eventually she realises that it's all been a big setup to humiliate her, and the bullies end up dropping a bucket of pig's blood all over her. And then Carrie goes full crazy, and everyone in that prom is in Carrie's sight. It's a classic Stephen King horror movie with a sad, tragic backstory, but you also get a lot of satisfaction during the famous prom scene. It ticks all the boxes for a brilliant horror movie to watch this Halloween. Roaring in at number 5 is The Exorcist. Now, this is the original movie that set the boundary for all horror films. Released all the way back in 1973, and it's still scary to this day. The whole film just gives you a whole sense of dread, and it's definitely not a film to watch on your own, especially if you haven't seen it before. Now, I would have loved to have seen this movie in the cinema back in the 70s when people were running out of the theatre being sick and they were fainting. So, what made this movie so shocking? Well, a 12-year-old girl ends up getting possessed by a demon, or maybe even the devil himself. And while she is possessed, she is forced to do the unthinkable things. One particular scene involved the 12-year-old girl masturbating with a crucifix, making her mum then lick her out before punching her in the face, and then twisting her head 90 degrees. It's not a film for the faint-hearted, and they really did push the boundaries in this movie. Even by today's standards, it's a very scary movie with some disturbing scenes, but it's a brilliant horror film, and it will leave you speechless at times. So, if you want to watch one of the most scariest films in the world on Halloween, then The Exorcist is for you. Coming in at number 4, we have one of my other favourite horror films, The Conjuring. Now, this is a really good horror movie with plenty of scares, and it's based on a true story, and it's about a family that move into a house to start a new life, but then the house has been cursed by some witch who hung herself all those years ago from the tree in on the grounds of the home, and she cursed anyone who took any of her land. So when you watch this movie, you end up feeling like you've been on a roller coaster. It's that intense, and this movie has everything you would want in a horror movie. The acting is superb, and you really start to care for these characters. And there hasn't been many horror films, maybe in recent years, that has made an impact on me like this one. Some of the scary scenes will really get your heart pumping, and it's not one for the faint-hearted. If you're looking for a movie that will scare the pants off you and your friends, then this is definitely the movie for you this Halloween. You won't regret it. Flying into number 3, we have Scream. Now, this one might be an oldie, but it's a goodie. If you're looking for a good stalker-type horror movie with plenty of atmosphere, then this one is for you. A crazy killer is on the loose, terrorizing people on the phone before eventually killing them, while dressed up as Ghostface. And what's good about Scream is that you have a choice of 4 films. However, I wouldn't bother with Scream 3, that was a bit crap. But Scream 2 and Scream 4 are equally just as good as the first movie. In the original movie though, it does play homage to a lot of classic horror films like A Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, and it gives you a nice little trip down memory lane. The movie has a great cast, and the drama is at its highest when it all kicks off. It's definitely not one to miss, and you should definitely put this one on your Halloween list this year. And just missing out on the top spot at number 2, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven's original classic Freddy film. An old favourite of mine that will never get old, and it was released back in 1984, and it still scares the pants off people to this day. So Freddy is a child killer who haunts you in your dreams. Every time you fall asleep, you will have a nightmare about Freddy coming to kill you, and if he kills you in your dreams, you die for real. Freddy comes with a horrible burnt face with a glove full of knives to slice and dice you. He can also become the form of anything. I mean, he can come out of your TV, out of your mirror, and even pull you into your bed. There is no escaping Freddy Krueger because we all have to sleep at some point. It's a classic horror film, which did get a little bit silly in the later films, but I would totally recommend A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 or even Part 3, as they are both the best in the series. If you're looking for a proper old school horror movie this Halloween, then this one is for you. And rolling into Craig's number 1 top spot is Halloween. Yes, it was always going to be at my number 1 top spot to watch this Halloween because it's a Halloween type movie with about 11 sequels or remakes to choose from. You're spoilt for choice. I think for me though, I would probably watch with the original Halloween, and then I would watch the 2018 Halloween film straight after, as both films are amazing. Crazy psychopath Michael Myers thrives on killing, and nothing can stop him until everyone is dead. Going around on Halloween night, stalking and killing all the babysitters and wearing a creepy white mask. It's a proper classic, and I think most people love to watch this one on Halloween. Also, I just have to mention that Halloween has one of the best ever soundtracks ever invented for a horror film. So if you're stuck for a movie this Halloween, then I totally recommend that you stick on this old classic followed by the 2018 sequel. You won't be disappointed. And that was the top 10 horror movies to watch this Halloween. So let me know in the comments box below, what will you be watching this Halloween? I think I will be watching Hocus Pocus around tea time while me and my partner carve out some pumpkins, and then we'll be putting on at least 2 scary classics with the lights off. I'm so excited. But let me know in the comments box below, what will you be watching this Halloween and what are your plans this year? I'd really be interested to know. Okay guys, so if you have made it this far into the video, then thank you all for sticking around. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and I will see you all very soon.